Hi and welcome. I am Kat Eggers. Each season of the year has a different energy to it. And the importance of this practice of harmonizing with each season has to do with the very important fact that we are each an expression of the earth and the earth's energy. So when we harmonize with the earth, we're actually harmonizing with ourselves. And when we resist what's happening in the seasons, like let's say in winter, we want to keep doing and making and expressing and putting our energy out, then we get out of step with nature, with the natural world, with the earth. And ultimately, we get out of step, out of sync with ourselves. And that can actually lead to mysterious health conditions like headaches, migraines, weird pains, not sleeping well, things like that, anxiety. So, this practice is really a practice of aligning with our true selves, our authentic selves, and our natural selves. And when we do that, things take a lot less effort because we're in the flow. So in winter, the energy has turned in. So in plants, they have dropped their leaves or they have down regulated most of their metabolic processes and drawn everything into the roots. And there's this quiet to the natural world. Animals spend much more time, in their whatever home that they make for themselves. Some even hibernate. So if we are following that pattern, we also too will grow a little more quiet. So in winter, the energy settles and the fluctuations that are caused by expression, they settle. And you can think of this as a lake and the waves on the surface of the lake. Those are like our expressions and our thoughts and the work that is done to create and build and synergize. And that's what happens in spring and summer. And then in the fall, all of that gets unraveled and we come back to this place of source where we're not expressing anymore. And the surface of the lake becomes placid, becomes calm. And the fluctuations called the vrittis in yoga, they have calmed down. And in this state of, it's kind of like a primal state where we're with source in a way that isn't being obscured by our thoughts and by our biased doings. We can see ourselves more clearly and honestly, and we can let go of habits that aren't serving us anymore. We've actually already let them go. That's what that the surface of the lake being calm represents. And so when spring comes next, and we start to do again, and we start to create and express, and the surface of the lake becomes an expression of, what we're trying to manifest into the world. Maybe we are bringing something new to that, some new perspective, new part of ourselves that wasn't present before. So this time of winter can be a very important time that informs the creation that will happen later, because we have allowed ourselves to come back to rest. So the invitation of winter is quiet, rest, not doing, and stepping into being. And most importantly, from the perspective of our culture now, letting that be okay. That's really the work of this time. Rest serves a very important purpose. Rest allows for integration. We can't really integrate all the things we're creating and doing, experiences that we've had that are very stimulating, where we're learning things. We can't really integrate any of that unless we rest. We sleep every night in order to do this, but we can also incorporate these moments of rest throughout our day. Maybe you have a meditation practice. Maybe you just take 5 minutes to sit and stare off into space. Um, Maybe it's a whole time of year, like winter can be a whole period of the year where we're being much more mindful about incorporating rest into our lives, of feeling the restfulness of the earth and the energy around us, and letting that kind of take us into that space. When we rest in this way where we're letting go of uh, the vrittis, we're letting them settle out. We're also letting go of places where we've become rigid in our thinking. And this can be very impactful for places in our lives where we are stuck. So when I'm feeling like that, there's kind of an issue I'm trying to figure out. There's, some project I'm working on I can't quite figure out how to complete. Um, Maybe there's a stuck place in a relationship I have, and I'm not quite sure what to say to this person to resolve things. Instead of trying to really muscle my way through that, I will just do 10, 15, 20 minutes of a restorative pose or meditation where I'm very intentionally letting the vrittis that are the, I need to figure this out. I'm worried about this relationship. I need to get this done. Letting all of that just settle out, letting myself come to a still and quiet place inside. Um, and then when I come back to the problem, I don't feel so rigid. I'm a little more flexible. I may be seeing it from a different perspective. I can see it in ways I hadn't before. And then the solution or the way through becomes clear and without so much struggle. So, practicing rest is a powerful tool in our tool belt for skillful living. I'd like to leave you with a poem by Rainer Marie Rilke, who is a German poet. It's from his book, The Book of Hours. It's a collection of poems to God or to a higher power, an all encompassing divinity, whatever that means for you. I think it's a beautiful poem that describes this transition from doing into being, and how sometimes that can be a little bit uncomfortable. But that what awaits us there is our connection to ourselves, our connection to the divine. So enjoy this poem and also enjoy this self-care kit. You are not surprised at the force of the storm. You have seen it growing. The trees flee. Their flight sets the boulevards streaming, and you know. He whom they flee is the one you move toward. All your senses sing him as you stand at the window. The weeks stood still in summer. The tree's blood rose. Now you feel it wants to sink back into the source of everything. You thought you could trust that power when you plucked the fruit. Now it becomes a riddle again, and you again a stranger. Summer was like your house. You knew where each thing stood. Now you must go out into your heart as onto a vast plain. Now the immense loneliness begins. The days go numb. The wind sucks the world from your senses like withered leaves. Through the empty branches, the sky remains. It is what you have. Be earth now, and even song. Be the ground lying under that sky. Be modest now, like a thing ripened until it is real, so that he who began it all can feel you when he reaches for you.